daily dose of poison today.
Well, it sounds so negative, but it's not. We're going to make it positive. You know why? Because we have Shannon Gowland, who's an herbalist and also food therapy chef on our show, who's incredibly wise with all the food.
And guess who else? Zen Honeycutt. Come on. Founder, executive director of Moms Across America. And of course, we have Frederick, too.
Frederick? You named him
Great.
Frederick?
Frederick the Great. You'll learn all about him. He'll hopefully find a home today. So, guys, stay tuned. More to come and learn what the hell is going on in this world today. We'll see you in a sec. Welcome to Raising the Frequency with Tim and Shannon and Frederick.
Who's the cutest pup ever? How old is he?
He's 3.5 months, but let me tell you about this litter I had at 7.
He's not even looking at the camera. He's definitely not like his dad.
Well, he is, every one of these 7 German Shepherds have the perfect temperament. They really do.
How do you know?
You know, if you know German Shepherds, you know they do. And they know when to bark, they know when to, this is his first day ever out of the house, so he's a little shy. But he is such a assertive dog when it comes to, like, you know, just interacting with the other
he is
pups.
So cute.
I know, and he could be somebody's today. So
who wants him? But there's stipulations. You got to take such good care of him, right?
Yeah. That has to be.
Can he be with other dogs then?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And he's great with other dogs because they're socialized. They're animal. They grew up on the animal farm, you know.
You grew up on an animal farm?
Chickens and goats and pigs and everything, and so they. But he's such a good lover, and he's a guard dog. So if you want a guard dog who's going to protect your property, this is the one you want to have here. And you know, guess what? Their bloodlines.
Can he go with a brother or a sister?
Yeah. Yeah. If you want, there's one sister left. So if you wanted to get 2 for 1, that's a great idea.
Because I like that, because you want to keep the doggies together, right? Or does it not work like that anymore? You keep collecting dogs. What are you at? What's your number?
I don't know, probably 8, 7.
So 7 or 8, he doesn't even know. He lost count.
Well, it depends on what.
You like dogs more than people, though.
It's hard for me to let these dogs go, honestly, because it's not about the money. It's about the placing in a good home. That's what's most important.
Maybe you shouldn't breed anymore. Why are you breeding? We should talk about that, because I always was taught that breeding wasn't very good.
Yeah, that was your indoctrination into this world. I know. And most people are, but you know, the breeding. I love breeding for multiple reasons. One, you really kind of get the pick of the litter, and then 2. I love the fact that, you know, the siblings and brothers and sisters growing up in a family, like my dogs, I have a grandmother, a mother, the granddaughters, the grandsons. It's a pack, and it's a family environment. Now, a lot of breeders like, hey, you got to, you don't want that pack, you don't want the siblings get too, intimidated if they get apart from each other. They want to separate them. There's some truth to that, but at the same time, I think if you grow them up in a family, it's like there's something to where out in the wild they all stay together, right? And then they eventually leave.
Like a wolf.
Yeah, like a wolf pack. But what happens is that you break up the family because that's what we're conditioned to do.
Okay.
But nevertheless, it's you have to make sure that you have homes for the dogs, which I wouldn't breed unless I have homes for the dogs. And but what I love about it is that you don't know where your dog came from in the first 3 to 9 months if you pick up a pup, right? And a lot of times it's very anxiety oriented.
Yes.
It's like.
That's why,
And so you don't know what you're getting, and it creates a lot of these for the patterns for the rest of their life. So I love having a pup brand new because you know everything you put into it and know all their experiences.
And you know that you're a good dog owner. So if you guys want this dog, how do they get the dog?
Well, just shoot us an email, contact@uimedianetwork.org. But I think maybe somebody's gonna be taking him today, so you better have come quick. Or I think what's her name, Shannon, maybe looking at him.
Shannon, our guest.
Yes.
Nina says, OMG, the puppy is so cute. You should see the puppy. You should feel the puppy.
But speaking of cute, so are you excited about today? Because, I know we're talking about the poisons. And listen, and this is one thing about poisons.
I'm distracted from the cute dog. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, show's on.
Okay.
Pay attention.
But
yes.
But the poisons like this what is it, Tommy? Vinyl toxide?
Chloride,
Chloride vinyl.
The vinyl chloride?
Yes. It's the most dangerous substance to mankind. Can you believe that?
Yeah, are you following that story?
Yes, and it only is dangerous if they put flames to it and it gets airborne. And of course, that's what they did. You think that was just an accident, right? And of course, there's they're popping up all over the country now. All these toxins. It seems like the weren't bad enough. We got to then toxify your land, but of course, it has a purpose, right? You know the purpose.
To toxify the 15-minute cities?
Yeah, to get everybody, because now the EPA can pull you off your land because if it's toxin.
And then they can control everything about you.
They
can say, you can't go to Carolina today because you know what? Climate control. It's Susie's turn. Could you imagine living in that kind of life?
I know. But how can you still, at this point, unless you're in the dark, and I was driving in, I just turned on the mainstream media radio.
What? Did you throw up in your mouth?
No, I wasn't disappointed because the reason why I stopped listening to it, because I'm like, they're talking about like dating, and
we talk about that.
No, but they're talking about doing a prank call. They're talking about just dating. I'm like, right now there's a run on banks going on. You got toxins in the air. I mean, you could talk about these things periodically, but you have to have nothing, not a word, because you know why?
Why?
They're not allowed to.
I know.
They can't say, and they want you distracted. So I'm like, this is why our society's so dumbed down, because we're listening to the radio, watching the TV, we read the newspaper, and it's all controlled to create a narrative in your head to avoid the reality of what's really happening.
In all fairness, sometimes distraction is necessary, Tim.
Okay,
for human beings.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm not. But when you're so distracted that you never get the truth out, guess what happens? Do you know all around the world is opening up police stations in all these countries?
I know they're doing it
the United
here.
States.
Yes.
Okay. Did you also know that the 15-minute cities are being rolled out in Canada, being rolled out in UK, being rolled out in Australia? You also know it's being rolled out in Cleveland, Ohio. Go figure, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you can't understand that there's a conspiracy, a worldwide conspiracy, and people have been talking about it for a long time,
For a long, since what, the 50s?
Yes, but mainstream media says, oh, there's nothing, right? And it's just a big lie. I mean, you have to at some point, you have to say, okay, either I'm going to get involved in the reality or I'm going to keep denying my reality and make bad life decisions.
We also this is the thing. You know what's so funny about you saying get involved in reality? I was thinking about this when I was praying on the way to work today. Some of us, yes. All right. Some of us also need to get a grip on reality. It's not all so extreme this way and it's not all so extreme that way. And we tend to put it in the box that we want it to be in. And then we live that way. It's like, you know what? Let's chill out a little bit.
Okay. But how's chilling gotten you so far in life?
Well, I'm happier now that I'm chilling out a little bit instead of being so negative. I was very negative for a while here on this show, was I not? Because we were learning so much bad crap and it was over me and looming over me and I didn't know how to shake it off and, dust it off and raise my family without being, oh my God, the end of the world, or how do I save my grandma? You got to sometimes at some point, people have to take responsibility for their own actions and you have to accept it.
Well, and you need that understanding. And this is where I think whole raising the frequency with Tim and Shannon, which we'll talk about the launch party here in a second. I'm so excited about it. Is that when you have the ability to change how you feel and perceive things, you can shift your reality. That's the whole process of raising frequency, right. Media, frequency wars, all that. We can shift our reality by how we feel about whatever we're experiencing in this reality, right? And that's where the power comes in. Think how powerful that is. You can have your whole world falling apart, which it is, and you could still stay in a higher vibration because you are connected to what?
God.
Source, God, Jesus, everyone, right? But my point is, you have to be grounded that way. But think all these Satanists and everybody else, they're not. They're grounded in, I guess, their God, which is Lucifer, which is destruction and it's like they're going down this road of self-destruction. You don't think whoever in that there's no what do you call it, honor among thieves, right? You don't think they're going to sell you out eventually too? They may sell everybody else out first, but you don't think you're getting sold out.
It's gonna happen. These people like Fauci. Are you watching Fauci right now? Is anybody following the story? Tommy, are you? Did you hear about him saying that now it was the lab leak and everything, which we've been saying for years?
But see, it's not the lab.
Wait, but then what about the gain of research? So are you following the story at all, Tom? Before
I'm not.
Okay.
Shit,
Bottom line is this: they are literally going to hang Fauci out to dry. I think.
He was a puppet from the beginning.
Right.
He was a patsy from the beginning.
But I don't think he knew he was a puppet. I thought that maybe at first he thought that he was like part of that bloodline or that elite and that agenda, and then really he's just a puppet. Yeah.
Right. And you know, and I know Ashley could chime in on this, but you know, you're going to find out that what's been happening, this and all this, is actually a venomization of our world, and it is so out there in your face, so blatant how what they've done with venom over the decades and how they used it in the because we have a documentary coming out next couple of weeks, and you're gonna see how it was done on purpose. There's
All
no
right.
way
I want to hear Ashley's opinion. You said.
By the way, Woke says sup pup.
I couldn't get to that. Okay, keep going.
Go ahead, Ash.
I'm right there with you, Tim. I don't know what to say or what not to say because I don't want to drop any bombs that the documentary is going to reveal.
Right.
Oh.
But just buckle down. And also, it's not just snake venom.
Yeah.
What else is it?
Shellfish venom, for example, venom from the sea. So
it is such a conspiracy.
Yeah, it's a big one.
But you know what the conclusion going to come from? There's no way you conclude that this wasn't done on purpose with intent to harm and hurt and kill.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Well, is there venom in things that we like our drinking water?
Your makeup you put on your face.
There's venom in my makeup. That
Yes,
sucks.
there's venom in everything. What else is there venom in?
Well, there's poison in everything as well. Most of the regulations that they have over in Europe and East Asia and any of those countries, you know, over the seas, you know, have outlawed multiple corporations and industries from putting certain products in foods, in water, and it's been illegal over there for decades for a purpose. Yet it's not over here because honestly, we're like the testing ground of what you know.
I thought that was New Zealand.
I swear it's here. That's why everyone's getting cancer left and right. That's why the FDA is just hey, bribe us.
Hey,
whoever's got the money can push
talk
out
about
their
a
truck.
breaking story out of Rome here, Georgia, and also Chattanooga River. There's these river watchers and these kind of nonprofit organizations watches what they're putting into the water because, like in Chattanooga, Chattahoochee River, that's where we get our drinking water from.
Oh, our drinking water isn't even. They don't have any rules on our drinking water. They haven't checked it in like 20-something years. It's disgusting.
These guys are exposing how the carpet industry up in Dalton has been running chemicals into the drinking water over there in Rome, and how people are being poisoned and nothing's being done about it. You know, it is out of control. Honestly, I can't tell you how bad it really is, but it is definitely out of control. But I have to say one thing, and we'll get into this more into the news segment. Is my God, is anybody keeping up with the bank runs going on?
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah,
what is going on? But didn't we bail them out just now too? Did you hear about this?
Listen, okay, think about
Silicon Valley Bank.
Tommy, you been keeping up with the bank runs?
I have not.
All right, tell us, Mr. Ray.
Well, listen, it's the beginning. 3 banks have folded already. I think there's a handful more going on there. And you're talking about some big names being thrown out, whether it happens or not. You know, whatever happened to it's too big to fail. But if you know the agenda, you see, if you're one step ahead of the New World Order in the 2030, and it's written WF, do you not remember Klaus Schwab and the gang saying we need to speed up this process of the New World Order agenda? They said that last year. They had a big meeting. We got to exponent this and move this agenda quicker. Expedite this agenda quicker, right? And my God, you know, how are you going to get your digital currency in place?
Right.
The banks are still working.
So do you think this is the step to make it digital currency?
And they're going to play this big drama out, like the Trump drama and this Biden drama, like they're all against each other and they're blaming everyone else. And they're all working for the cabal who's destroying the banks, the bank run, and to steal your money. And don't think twice, they're not going to steal your money.
I think Oprah Winfrey just lost like $1 billion. Is that true? Can anybody verify that? At the Silicon Valley Bank.
If she lost $1 billion, they created $1 billion for her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That they're getting bailed out somehow.
I know.
Like, how are they getting bailed out? But then they didn't even send anything to East Palestine when the vinyl chloride train derailment. Come on.
I know.
Like,
right?
make it make sense.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is that it is all a show. It's literally a show.
Yeah.
It's a show put on over the humanity. It's a clown. But it's really a show being done purposely. And you gotta know, guys, there's an agenda going on, and these people are ruthless. They hate other humans, specifically other than themselves and their like.
Dave says, is there puppy venom
Yes.
in oh, does that make you sad? All right, we got to go into this food stuff because this is important. Or do you want to keep talking about the bank?
No. We'll go to the food. And,
Okay.
And I do want to say one thing about they've been putting mRNA in vaccines, dog vaccines, all vaccines for 8 years now, at least, maybe further. It wasn't in the last 3 years. So
mRNA?
yeah, and also I'm sure snake venom.
Wait a second, time out.
Yeah.
mRNA, you were saying, is used in other
Yes.
for humans.
Yes, for humans and
What?
and for animals. Do you know dogs?
You said something so different. You said that this is the first time they're ever using mRNA in was the
Publicly. This is done privately. One's deceitfully and other one's openly.
Okay,
I should say.
okay.
But I want to say one thing is that, dogs used to live easily till 15, 20 years of age, right? When I was growing up. Now they're dying at 7 years of age from cancers and these unknown things we've never seen before. Why do you think that? Everything's going to go back to the they get a chance to depopulate you when you're born. Why do you think that just put the whole system into place for the children to get babies to get the injections? Because they want to limit your lifespan so they can depopulate depopulate the population. So that's why. Go ahead.
All right.
How else are they depopulating it? With food. Like, by the way, you didn't say about my chef outfit.
I know. Why are you wearing this?
Because I'm going to show people how.
Do you know how to cook?
I do. I cook very well.
Do you put ketchup on things that you cook?
Do you ever come to my house where I do my my hibachi?
No, you make hibachi.
Yes.
In that outfit.
Tommy, Ashley, have I not? I have a little hat.
true.
I have a hat too.
What is he wearing? Who dresses him?
Maybe he's not as good as Benihana,
Yeah.
but close. He's getting there.
Hey, you ever cook for 8 people? It ain't easy, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
I can't believe you do that. That's pretty actually cool.
Well,
Good for you. So yes, I do like your chef outfit, but I also
You never got on the invite list, did you?
Oh well, we're not really friends in real life.
We're just fake friends.
All right. So Dave says, how can you implement the death shot if ivermectin works? Same deal.
Well, and the ivermectin and all that. Guess what? That's what they use that for. Snake venom bites. It just goes right back to it. But it's just fascinating.
I don't know how I feel about ivermectin. It's big pharma.
I know, but I'm just saying they've been using it for 7 years.
I don't trust anybody. Where's the natural stuff? Give me a plant.
All right.
Give me some herbs.
So what do you
All right.
what do you got going on?
So this is important to talk about because foods that we don't know are bad are actually really bad for you. If you read something and you want to watch your fat, you look at the label, fat-free. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
What does it mean, Tim?
Well, it means that they're lying to you. That's what it means.
It means that it's incredibly heavily processed because foods that are fat-free or fat-reduced become bland, tasteless, and less appealing. So in order to make it better, they process it with all these unhealthy ingredients. That's kind of like Bill Gates' soy burgers or veggie burgers. What is it called? Plant-based anything. If anything says... Yes, Impossible Burgers. Oh my God, what is in there is disgusting.
Yeah.
Have you checked out the ingredients? You don't even know.
No, they're finding human flesh in McDonald's.
Human feces. They're finding poop.
And bones. Human bones.
More than McDonald's, any fast food joint.
I have a video on that.
It's disgusting.
Hey, can you play that video?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
They find teeth in McDonald's.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Genetic DNA evidence of children's teeth in the food, in the burgers, which linked it back to, not Wisconsin, Missouri or Wyoming, one of those states that's in the middle of nowhere, where they actually found human meat inside one of the processing plants at McDonald's. And they said, we're not sure how it's happened. Maybe somebody fell in there and they haven't reported it. But between McDonald's closing, the reports of the Japanese McDonald's try to pass the buck, try to blame it on the Americans, saying, we got the food from the USA. It didn't come from here. And then they said, you know what? That's probably somebody playing a prank. But they're closing a lot of branches down at McDonald's. And McDonald's traditionally, Nick, in the last 40, 50 years has been one of the safest franchises you could buy. Because what they do is they do a very, very detailed demographic study of where you're going to put these McDonald's, about the income of the people, where they are, the population. They don't just put them randomly. They're very, very specific about where they are. So human meat in the McDonald's food, including children's teeth that have been ground up and put in there.
Listen,
Tim.
if this to be true, think what you've been eating all your life. All right? And that's it. We already know the Satanists are running the world. We already know about adrenochrome. We already know about what they do with the babies and everything else. I mean, it's not a hard leap to think that they're doing this into our food system here. But I mean, it's almost mind-boggling. You don't want to believe it, which I guess you don't. And when we get back, what are we going to be hearing about? You don't want to believe either, right?
Yes, we're going to talk to Zen Honeycutt, who is taking matters into her own hands with moms across America. And they're reversing chronic conditions with food. So don't miss it. Be right back.
Food.
The FDA was created to find products being imported into the U.S. that were adulterated, foods or drugs that contained pesticides that were dangerous, or that they were contaminated in some way.
So that's on
and
our
they have
side.
expanded their authority over the last 100 years. But if they've been doing the same thing they've been doing a company for 100 years and there's no injuries, no reports of a problem, why is the FDA spending taxpayer money going after them? We don't have hundreds of people dropping dead from taking homeopathic remedies that they bought over the counter in their CVS or Walgreens. Yeah. But I do believe that the greater the transparency in government and in academia of the research process, we can stand up and we can have solutions. We need to have research conducted by independent bodies who don't have a financial stake in the outcome. Dr. Tony Fauci, for instance, he has patents. NIH, CDC, and other federal authorities have patents on the drugs that are developed. And I do believe that the American people are increasingly informed. When you develop an autoimmune disorder, you start doing your research. What I am most concerned about is social media limiting free speech and the free expression, which is something the parents of vaccine-injured children know a whole lot about. Whatever course of care you're going to receive is your decision to make. And that includes any decision, homeopathy, chiropractic, anything. It's your choice, and if it's a child, it's the parent's decision what course of care. A government should not mandate something, and you should have informed consent. You should be told ahead of time what you can expect, what is known, and what is not known.
Welcome back to Raising the Frequency with Tim and Shannon. And I want to remind you guys, if you're unpilled, if you're watching us on Pilled, do not forget our show is no longer called Awaken Atlanta. It's now called Raising the Frequency with Tim and Shannon, and it has changed. So if your friend isn't on the website at this time, maybe you just send him a little message, because I didn't even know how to find our show. I'm like, Tim, they kicked us off of Pilled. He's like, Shannon, it's right there. I'm like, oh, we have a new name. So if I don't even know it, then you don't even know it. Okay.
Okay, without further ado, let's bring in Zen Honeycutt, founder and executive director of Moms Across America. Welcome, Zen.
Hi, Tim and Shannon. Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
First time.
Good morning.
Well, you are a remarkable soul, and you've been in the fight here for a long time, getting the good word out here. So why don't you tell us a little bit what moms do across America?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be raising the frequency with you. I love it. I love the name. I'm all about the frequencies these days. I'm sure we could talk about that for hours.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Moms Across America has been around for 11 years now. And I just feel honored and privileged to be able to do the work I do, because it's for my children, for your children, for the future that we're all living into. And food is the number one factor of our health. And I'm so glad that you're taking on looking at the food supply, because we are being poisoned. This is government sanctioned poisoning. And I am so mad about what's going on that, I have to channel my energy to make sure that it's going in a good direction. And there's just so much, for instance, my kids had allergies, autism symptoms, autoimmune issues, asthma, just like millions of other parents who never had those things when they were kids.
Right.
By the way, right. All of a sudden, oh, it's genetic. Our kids are all sick. No, I don't think so. Something's going on. So I learned about the food supply, GMOs, genetically modified organisms in the food supply. And then I learned about glyphosate in the food supply, which is in Roundup. And I initiated the first glyphosate testing in America and found glyphosate in my son, the level of a farmer.
What?
The farmer, right? And all he was doing was eating, this was the middle one who had he did not have a gluten intolerance. The other two had a gluten intolerance, so they weren't eating wheat. But my middle son, who had a sudden onset of autism symptoms, all of a sudden had this high level of glyphosate in his urine. I'm like, wait a second, is there a connection? Well, it turns out they're spraying glyphosate on wheat as a drying agent, and it does not wash, dry, or cook off. And glyphosate destroys your gut bacteria, which is, where your serotonin and your melatonin and all that sort of thing is. And it impacts your brain. It causes inflammation in the brain when you offset your gut bacteria. All your microbes, go wonky and tell your vagus nerve to go on attack, and your brain goes into inflammation and you get autism symptoms. And so we cleaned up his diet, totally organic. We had already gone GMO free for my eldest son who had allergies. But when we cleaned up the diet completely and went all organic, my son's autism symptoms within 6 weeks were gone. And his glyphosate level was no longer detectable. And he was cleared up. And my other son, during that process, because we went 100% organic, his allergies, life-threatening allergies, went from a 19 that was to walnuts and tree nuts down to a 0.2. So he no longer has a life-threatening allergy. And, as a mother, that gives me a massive amount of peace of mind.
Wait, let's time out though, because you said to buy organically. Can you trust organic? Because everything I'm reading is like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, all that is just wonky anyway.
Yeah, well, I suspect that there is an agenda behind that.
Well, Amazon bought Whole Foods
to discredit organic,
yes,
but there is contamination in organic, but it is way less than what conventional food is. And there is some contamination in highly processed organic things like protein powders. So Detox Project recently did a test on all kinds of protein powders. And keep in mind that protein powders contain, things like lentils and peas and soy, right? All of these different legumes and beans that are sprayed with glyphosate as a drying agent. And we're getting these from Turkey, and they're being, shipped over, and they end up in the Long Beach, California port, and suddenly they're organic.
Wow.
So these peas and beans and things like that are going into highly processed protein powders, I would avoid as much as possible, because the levels in those were the same as GMO and non-GMO protein powders. So that, the non-GMO protein powder was like 54 parts per billion. The conventional protein powder was 54 parts per billion, and the organic was 54 parts per billion of glyphosate. It wasn't like 0.03, right? If it was 0.03 parts per billion, that would have been contamination by rain. Right. Or irrigation water, but it was the same amount as conventional and non-GMO protein powders, and that is fraudulent labeling. Wow. So there are cases of organic being fraudulently labeled, but what we have seen from the thousands of tests has been that it is really only in the highly processed organic food. So if you want to eat organic, that you will get lower levels of glyphosate.
Let's talk about that, because that's really critical. Yeah. You said about the mislabeling, whatever, because now what you're seeing in the stores, and I don't think most people don't read it. It says under the item says bioengineered, right? And they've been lying about the sugar. Explain what this bioengineered means.
That's genetically modified. They have changed the word of genetically modified because people like us, and you spoke up, and we were against GMOs. We wanted GMO labeling. We thought we had the right to know if our food had been genetically engineered, like tomatoes with fish genes or oranges with pig genes. Hello, that's not kosher.
Gosh.
Yes. So, we thought we had a right to know that. And so we worked for years to get GMO labeling, and then, which Obama said he would do, right? And he did not. What he did was pass that they could have a QR code or a phone number or a website on there that would lead you to somewhere that would say that it's GMO. And in the process, I believe it was Trump that agreed that it could be called bioengineered instead of genetically modified, or maybe it was Obama, but whatever the case was. And then Trump said, you know what, GMO companies don't need to clear their GMOs through the government. They can just go ahead and regulate themselves.
Well, the government, why would we trust the government at this point anyway?
So they're not being regulated.
Yeah.
They're not being regulated at all now. Yeah. And if they are labeled at all, they're being called bioengineered. Yeah. And there's like a happy little sun.
What do we know that does to your body, this genetically modified foods? Like what do you researched? Because people need to understand the repercussions and decisions they make every day, and the food they put into their children's mouths and theirs, that there is a ongoing symptomatic effect going to happen over time.
Yeah, well, there have been numerous reports of GMO corn, especially Starlink, causing severe allergic reactions. If you think about it, GMOs are foreign proteins that our bodies have never been exposed to before. And you talked about the Impossible Burger before. There's 43 different types of foreign proteins in that product. And when you have a foreign protein in your body's going to fight it. So some people, their bodies will fight it more than others, and they'll have, allergic reactions. Other people, it could be altering our DNA. The problem is we don't know, because there haven't been long-term, studies on these products. Now, the real problem that I see besides the genetic modification, altering DNA, unintended changes to the DNA that we don't know what is going to happen to it. Besides the unknown factors, we do know that 80% of GMOs are engineered to withstand glyphosate, 80%. And glyphosate does not wash, dry, or cook off. And it is a carcinogen. It is a known carcinogen. It is a known endocrine disruptor, changing sex hormones, folks, at very low levels. It's a known liver disease and kidney disease causing agent. And it causes a whole host of problems to the nervous system. So it has been labeled as responsible for about 40 different Western diseases. And the people that first called that out, Stephanie Seneff and Anthony Samsel, were called loons and crooks and all that. But the science has come out to repeatedly prove them correct. And everybody should be aware of glyphosate and trying to avoid it as much as possible. Definitely not using Roundup in your backyards.
Why are they still using glyphosate if we know this?
Isn't it because FDA considered it an antibiotic? Isn't glyphosate considered an antibiotic?
Yes, it's also thank you very much. It's an antimicrobial. It is an antimicrobial, and it acts as a pipe cleaner. It's a chelator. So it grabs onto the vital nutrients of any living thing it touches. So all these vitamin deficiencies, hello, that's glyphosate. Vitamin D deficiency and all of our reactions to COVID. There were other countries that had very few people die from COVID, very few people, but not America, because we are consuming glyphosate practically on a daily basis, especially if you're not eating organic, destroying our gut bacteria, weakening our immune system, causing cancer, causing all kinds of hormone issues. We are a very sick nation. I was just on a call with Paul Mills, a scientist who revealed this new study, 18 years studying children that have been exposed to glyphosate. Glyphosate causes non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Wow. We now have 100 million people in America with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That's almost 1 out of 3. And the majority of them are children.
Oh my gosh.
We have an epidemic. We have a crisis. Without your liver, you can't detox things properly. You're going to get autism. You're going to get all kinds of autoimmune diseases.
Right.
We are killing off an entire generation of people very slowly, or at least making them sick. And our government is continuing to allow this because they're corrupt, because these large corporations donate money to these politicians.
Right.
And the politicians then go ahead and continue to allow them to use these toxic chemicals.
Always follow that money. I want to know where you shop, because you have kids, you're a mom, I'm a mom. Where the heck am I supposed to shop and feed my kids? Like, tell me what you, normally, do they eat cereal ever? Do you ever find a cereal that they can eat?
Yeah, so yes, we buy organic cereals like Cascadia or there's a whole bunch of, there are organic cereals that aren't expensive. To be honest, sometimes I go to discount stores to get those because cereals don't go bad that fast, and there are ways to cut budgets. We do go to Costco and load up on the giant bags of organic broccoli and, frozen peas and all of that stuff. Cause when in bulk, it is a better price. We do try to go to farmers markets and things like that, but it is quite expensive. It is more expensive to go to farmers markets. So those are more.
Oh, you want your health, or you want, cheap food?
Whatever.
Right?
If you guys can get eggs from Tim, I trust his eggs. I was at a farmer's market and I asked
We have our own chickens. We have our own chickens.
See, okay.
Yeah, we have our own eggs. We save a lot of money that way. Yeah.
Farmers markets are selling eggs that they're feeding their chickens full of those wheat that you're talking about, or that corn. What is it? You're the professional chicken owner.
Well, they're feeding all the corn stuff. But I want Zen also to jump in about. Did you hear about the feed that they've been putting out since August that was making your chickens not lay eggs? And I experienced that. Once I switched to feed, it went right back to normal again.
It was Tractor Supply. Yeah, had a couple brands.
I mean, what a scandal!
That's crazy.
High levels of glyphosate. So I'm telling you guys, that was high levels of glyphosate in that food. It prevents reproductive. It causes all kinds of reproductive problems. But we never had that problem because we only buy organic feed in our chickens free range. And so they've been laying. We have so many eggs, we don't even know what to do.
I know. It's amazing how the feed.
Give them away.
This is what's so dangerous right now. And Zen, what really bothers me the most, and to Shannon, I want to get some solutions like Shannon's saying, where do we shop and things that we'll go through all that process. But it almost seems null and void for the fact now we got this vinyl chloride being left into our atmosphere, getting into our water system. We have these manufacturing companies blowing up and putting chemicals out. It seems like we almost have to have some type of like one stop detox shot or shotgun approach to this, because eating your food's one thing, right? It's hard enough to shop and eat clean. It really is. Now you got to add all the toxins in the water, the sky, the chemtrails dropping every day. I mean, it just seems overwhelming, right? Is there anything that we can do to deal with all of it? It does.
Yeah. Buy organic as much as possible, especially your grains is what I would say. Most people don't think that way, because the grains are sprayed with glyphosate as a drying agent. And that's the number one thing that I'm most concerned about are the grains. And then also your eggs are very important to be organic, because they found very high levels of glyphosate in your eggs. And I would do a detox protocol every day. And on Moms Across America, we do have a product called Primary Detox, which is Chinese herbs and roots and things like that have been around for 5,000 years. Some of those types of herbs have been the only thing that have helped my kids with allergies. And the mom that makes that product has vetted, and she does testing, heavy metal, pesticide testing, all that kind of stuff. So I would do, and it's not only that, you could do bentonite clay, you could do activated charcoal, but there are detox protocols. Chlorella is very good. Taking a sauna a couple times a week, or at least sweating, exercising and sweating.
Infrared saunas.
Yeah, infrared saunas. There are a lot of things that you can do to detox, and I would just encourage people to continue doing that and get tested. Go there. You can go to my Med Labs for Life, I believe it is, or My Med Lab, and you can get your own without having to go to a doctor. You can get a GPL tox test on what types of pollutants are in your body, and then find out, hey, what do I need to do to get this lead out of my body, or this mercury, or these heavy metals. And there's lots of things you can do. And we have information on Moms Across America. And we're also having a panel today called the New MDs at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The New MDs, it's on Facebook and YouTube, and with Stephanie Seneff and Michelle Perro, and we're talking about detoxing. So there's definitely a lot of
exactly. I think it's not just enough about your food. We have to, because we're being environmentally poisoned on every level. And you can go down that rabbit hole to find out why in the depopulation program. But in the meantime, what do we do? And I think people like you out there who are really bringing some solutions to folks is so critical. And I have to say, one of the things that what comes around in the environment with the food, particularly, people are like the fast food joints here. We were playing the McDonald's thing about human food there. How safe are fast food from McDonald's to Arby's to Burger King, all of them, in your opinion?
Oh, I never, ever go there. My kids never go there. They don't even want to pee in those places. They don't want to go. Yeah. And we're hopefully going to be doing some testing. We're talking to some funders right now to test those fast food places for all different kinds of things. We tested school lunches, by the way. That's on Moms Across America. We tested 43 samples of school lunches. 95.3% of them were positive for glyphosate. In comparison, in the grocery stores, only 60% of the food was positive for glyphosate. So our kids are getting way more glyphosate than even adults from regular grocery stores.
It's cheaper.
Pack
right?
Yes,
cheaper.
It's the cheapest food.
We're
giving them the cheapest food we can. 74% were positive for 29 different other pesticides. We don't know the synergistic effects of that. 100% were positive for high levels of heavy metals. Some of them is almost as high as 7,000 times higher than what's allowed in water. And these are heavy metals that cause neurotoxicity, like long-term neurological damage. And they also had high levels of veterinary drugs. And some of those veterinary drugs are the kinds that cause lactation and, produce more milk. And I have a friend who's a school counselor who said that she had a 15-year-old girl come in and cry to her as a school counselor because she was in the shower and she started lactating. She's not on birth control pills. She's not pregnant. Her breast started just producing milk. And she was like, what's going on with my body? This is crazy. And of course, hormones are off the charts. She can't focus in school.
Estrogen mimicking hormones they've been putting in.
Yeah. And this is happening to our boys too, folks. So
being feminized.
I would urge people to really think about what they're feeding their kids. If their kids are having any kind of, gender confusion, or things are going on hormonally with them, there's 1,200 different endocrine disruptors in our food system and in our environment. And in Europe, they only have 3. They only allow 3. Yeah. We are allowing our children.
Why are we doing that in America?
Well, one
Why?
thing like
corruption, government
corruption, and plus you got to see who's running the country, right? And the thing is, like in Europe, don't they also, you want to get your bread and things from that, because they have a lot of restrictions on glyphosate over in Europe, don't they?
Oh yeah, when you go to Europe, you can eat bread. You can eat bread. There's gonna be almost no or very little glyphosate on it. You can eat bread. You can eat pasta and not gain weight and not get rashes. I mean, I had bread and cheese there every day when I was in Switzerland. I didn't have any type of rash or bloating. Come back here to the United States, I eat any of that kind of stuff, I get rashes all on my body. I get bloating. I gain weight. I get irritable. I think there's divorces that are happening out there because women or men are eating wheat that's sprayed with glyphosate. They're getting irritable and cranky every day, and the spouses can't handle it. I think it's destroying marriage in America.
Children, marriages, feminizing children, and hormonal out of control.
Autism, the autism epidemic.
You know, it is an epidemic, and when you go down the rabbit hole, you find it's being done deliberately.
So the autism is not just it's interesting hearing that also food causes that, because we've been so on the side of causing autism.
Is there any vaccine?
Oh, it's absolutely. The autism has been absolutely connected to glyphosate because of the thyroid issues and the male rats where the mothers are exposed to glyphosate end up with autism and thyroid issues. Yeah.
Wow.
Is there any type of like now I found out they've been putting mRNA years ahead of us into these vaccines. They're putting into the rabies shots. They're putting into all different types of shots for animals and livestock now, as well as they're rolling out the mRNA for children. Is there any that you would recommend people to take?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, and I'm somebody who did my kids when they were younger.
Yeah, me too.
I trusted my doctor.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, they're not fully, but one of them is almost fully. Thank God he's really changed his food over. His whole body is, developed new cells and all that stuff now, and he's better. But I trusted my doctors and I did that. But now there's not a single that I would give my children, and I would not suggest them, because we tested 5 childhood, by the way, found glyphosate in them. I'm telling you guys, it all comes back to, because the pigs eat these grains sprayed with glyphosate, high levels, like 1,000 parts per billion. It goes into their tendons and their bones and their meat, and then they use the tendons, they grind them up and make gelatin. And gelatin is a stabilizing agent in 25% of the contents for especially MMR are gelatin. And it's been proven by Monica Kruger from Germany that the glyphosate goes into those tendons. And so we are suspecting that it's in the gelatin in the and the MMR vaccine was 25 to 34 times higher than the other, and that would account for the gelatin, right? That's a live. The other are not live. And so, but they all had glyphosate in them. Glyphosate breaks down the blood-brain barrier, allows toxins into the brain. We know that there's aluminum in these. Some of them as high as like 500 parts per billion or whichever, which is way higher than what's considered toxic by the FDA, which is only 25. So these contain heavy metals, and when they contain glyphosate, if so, which we saw all of them do, from the ones that we tested, the childhood, then it's going to allow that aluminum into the brain. It's going to allow that polyethylene glycol, the PEG, the polysorbate 80, all of these chemicals going into the brain, impacting the brain and causing autism symptoms and Alzheimer's and all kinds of other issues, neurological issues.
It is so overwhelming and almost impossible. I see why a lot of people give up, but you have to keep fighting the fight. If you don't, then you're shortening your lifespan, your children's lifespan, and not having a quality life on the way to their death.
But it only takes 15% of people to start moving things in the right direction.
Wow,
according to Jeffrey Smith. Sometimes some people say 5%, some people say 10%. Because once that snowball gets rolling, there's no stopping it. Yeah. And once you learn something, you can't unlearn it. Yeah. So I am hopeful, because people like you are getting the word out to people. And if everybody that's listening right now just start spending, maybe switch over $100 of your food to organic food. Your grocery store very soon is going to have to be stocking organic food. They are going to have to, they're going to be buying more and more organic food. And then that's the snowball. You get that snowball rolling, and pretty soon they're going to be like, hey, we're not going to buy this Lucky Charms anymore because it's not selling. We're going to buy the organic, Cheerios or whatever. That will happen in the stores if you keep on it, and if you guys keep voting with your dollar and switching your dollar over to organic.
Good for you. But one thing
Zen,
for sure,
thank you so much for educating us and coming in.
Yes, and people like you, Zen, are doing the experiments because you have Amazon taking over over Whole Foods. You don't know what to trust anymore unless you have folks out there actually doing the testing and see. So people check you out. Where can they check you out, Zen? How can they
Thanks. MomsAcrossAmerica.org. If you can donate to us, volunteer, whichever, join us on Monday night. We have Moms Connect calls at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'd love to see all of your viewers there with us.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zen. Have a great day. Guys, when we come back, we have some news, which is not going to be such pretty news, but it is getting pretty ugly out there. But we got to prepare. If we don't prepare, know that we're all in this together, all right? And we are here together, and we can do anything when we unite our intentions. So stay tuned. More to come. See you over the hump.
Music was always tuned to 432 until about the 1880s, when the British, under the Royal College of Music, and then later on the Nazis, started to shift it to a discordant sound. It moves it off the natural biorhythm. And so what it does is it creates a slight distortion in the field. 432 is our natural human frequency. When you listen to music, which is based off 432, I tune both my pianos to 432, have for years. The sound, something happens alchemically in you. There's a transmutation. There's a connection to the divine. The body reminds itself that it is connected to spirit. That is the alchemy. That is the divine grace host coursing through our veins. We can unlock so much of who we are as a powerful human species when we put it all together. We're forming, I have a unique piece of the jigsaw puzzle. So do you. This is what it is. It's bringing power back to we the people through all of our own individual magic. I just like to link things together. So sound healing with astrology, astronomy, mathematics. It all connects. Why? Because it's all about connecting to the divine.
Welcome back to Awaken Atlanta.
What?
Raising the frequency.
Oh, I didn't even get it. Wow.
So Shannon got caught dozing off, I think.
I'm just, the time change has affected me. Why do we have a time change? Is it because of war? Or is it because of farmers?
Yeah.
Do we still need a time change? So I wanted to say real quick with our guest, Zen Honeycutt, who's phenomenal. Moms Across America, I'm totally wanting to join that. But there were a couple things that we didn't get to talk about. Vegetarian. So my girlfriend, who I love to death, is a vegetarian. She can't be a vegetarian if she's got all this. There's freaking pigs and livestock and everything.
Well, you're getting it in your okay.
And that's another thing, because the mRNA is going to go in the livestock and also in lettuce and things like that. How are you supposed to buy this and keep yourself clean?
Yeah, I know. Right?
No, really?
Yeah.
You don't know?
I don't know, but I will say you're going to have to do your research. You're going to have to follow people like Zen and know, because like I said, Whole Foods is Whole Foods, but they just got bought up by Bezos or Amazon, right? We know Amazon's working for the cabal. So why wouldn't they lie? And they're lying on the ingredients too as well. It's just, let me tell you about liars here.
Okay, tell us.
And I've been telling you that this chump and all you Trump chumps out there, they've been lying to you from day one, okay? And I don't know why you still follow this guy thinking he's going to save you. Two things. One.
Here we go.
Well, he fast-tracked to 5G, right?
Oh, we're talking about Trump?
Yes, we're talking about Trump.
Yeah.
He fast-tracked to 5G. Now, they're rolling out all the 5G towers like they're doing here in Roswell and Alpharetta, and they're getting all the cities here. They're rolling it out down in Florida, too. But where he has his house, where is it? West Palm, Key Largo, where's his house?
Florida. He's got 8,000 houses.
But one of his main houses down there, guess who stopped them from rolling out 5G in his town?
Jeffrey Epstein. Just kidding.
Trump did. So he's like, everyone needs to be radiated except me.
Did he really?
Yes, it is insane. And it gets worse. Trump calls for Freedom Cities plays right into the globalist plan for the fourth industrial revolution, the 15-minute cities. Trump came on air, and he's selling you chumps out there like, oh, yeah, this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread, the new smart cities. And you know what SMART stands for? Surveillance, monitoring, analyzing, reporting, technology.
Okay.
I mean, it is the horrific. On top of the bank scandals we'll talk about in a minute. But he's pledged to build a new generation of cities on federal lands where everyone is prosperous, safe, and secure, and with lots of police and flying cars.
And flying cars?
Yes.
Did you really add that? Or is that real life?
That's real life.
Sorry.
That's what he's saying. But my point being, guys, he is the good cop to the bad cop routine being played. We have been sitting in a police box for the last 3 years, and well, longer than that, and being played by the good cop, bad cop routine. All right? Stop relying on anyone else other than yourself to figure out the truth, please.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
We talked about it a little bit.
What?
Silicon Valley Bank took nearly $1 billion and invested it in government-backed bonds with a significant portion of it locked away for 3 to 4 years at an interest rate of 1.79.
Yeah.
SVP took a massive bet that the Federal Reserve was not going to raise the interest rates as fast as they did. And when SVP turned out to be wrong, the bank was in a very dangerous position. Which
find out, Shannon, who's the owners of SVB.
He's connected to, what's it called? What's his name? Frederick? What's his name?
Who?
What's the guy's name? Tommy. You got to know this. This is your
Tommy.
MO. You got this.
Well, Pink, the guy from Vanguard and BlackRock. You'll find all the connections there, guys. Again, another show.
No, the connection to the come on, the currency. How does
digital currency? Yes.
I shouldn't be the one that knows this.
Klaus Schwab is saying, and the digital currency.
It's all connected.
Well,
anyway, but they just said that they weren't going to buy him out, and I think that they just bought him out.
Well, point being,
did we do this? Did we send him a buyout, guys?
Yeah.
Somebody reiterate.
So the FTX was another show.
That's what I'm talking about. The FTX.
FTX. Okay. The FTX was another show, setting up the digital currency, lose confidence in private currency. This fallout of this bank, this kind of domino effect, is another setup from the bankers, Rothschilds, who runs the show right now. He has the Rockefellers and the J.P. Morgans all underneath him and manipulating that, right? And they're now using this to destroy all our banks. And if you know that Satanists, these Sabbatine Satanists, and all these other folks who get in line, these Christian Satanists and everyone else who kind of goes down this dark road here, who are in power positions today, if you think they're concerned about these banks failing and they're going to want to stop these banks from failing going forward, other than setting up a believable backstory that, we're trying to do our best to stop it from happening, if you think these guys are not doing this deliberately and purposefully to bring in the CBD, the central banking digital currency, to really get control over everyone,
CBD is something
then you
different.
are out to freaking vinyl lunch, man. Wake up. This is all a play, all right?
To vinyl lunch? That's pretty extreme.
Well, whatever it is, I mean, I can't stand this level of just not seeing use your critical thinking and seeing it playing out. But most people.
But what if most people aren't supposed to wake up? You don't know.
Okay.
All I know is this: trust the plan, trust yourself, trust your intuition. Go out and love, peace, love, and happiness. Nina said, 2 evil wings of the same evil bird.
Good for you, Nina. Good for you. But what's bothering me is that they're making their moves. I mean, it's so bad. And speaking of that, this is how bad it is. Do you understand, Shannon? Do you understand, Tommy? Do you understand how close our First Amendment is? Losing our First Amendment in Florida is being attacked in Florida.
It's crazy that it's in Florida because of DeSantis.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, another bird of the same wing. They're all playing the same thing. Another bird there. And bills require bloggers. Okay, this bill. In order to blogger, people make their money on blogging, on YouTube and everything else. Requires bloggers will register with the state, and a new hate crime bill introduced. Now, check this out.
Read it verbatim. Don't give us the Tim theory.
Florida State Senator Jason Brudeau has proposed a bill that would require bloggers to file reports with the state if they are paid for posts about the state's governor, lieutenant governor, cabinet members, or legislative officials. Newspapers would not be subject to same rules because we're all bought and sold. Republicans Newt Gingrich wrote, "The idea that bloggers criticizing a politician should register with the government is insane."
Wait, so we can't criticize politicians?
It gets better. In another assault on the First Amendment, Florida State's Representative Mike Caruso introduced a new bill that makes anti-Semitism, a small 2% group, right, a hate crime. Someone who makes fun of another person's clothes, if they are considered ethnic or religious, if they're Jewish, can be arrested and charged with a 3rd-degree felony and a hate crime, which is 5 years in prison. All right? If you say anything related to that. The new proposal was reportedly put forward by the GOP to silence the Goyim Defense League. that has been sharing flyers in Florida neighborhoods and holding up anti-Semitic banners over the bridges, and they're critical of Jews. I don't care if you're Jewish, if you're Christian, if you're Catholic, if whatever you are, black, white, have to understand the only reason this country's been great up till now is because of our First Amendment rights, that you could criticize, say anything you want. And hate crimes is a crime in itself, because it's your actions that determines your crime, not your words. And that's why the First Amendment is critical. So all my Jewish friends out there, you need to stop this bill from going on. You think it's going to protect you? It is your death nail, all ours death nail, if we lose our First Amendment over this MK Ultra scandal that Kanye West was involved in to get this momentum, another play, another show for everyone to get this anti-Semitism anger going. And it's all being played out. Not because they care about Jewish people at all, in my opinion. Is because they want the First Amendment is in the way of them taking over the world right now, of the cabal taking over the world. They have to destroy the United States First Amendment, Second Amendment, all the rest of them. And they got to get rid of the First Amendment, and they're doing it now in Florida. So we need to stop this immediately.
Tommy, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say it's an absolute attack. You know, I think everyone really on this side of the aisle understands that the hate speech laws in general really shouldn't be here, because exactly what Tim said, words are words, actions are actions. There's a huge difference. And when you start delegating speech, that's a red flag. That's why that's why it's the first thing in the First Amendment.
And, and look at these 17 Satanists. They hide behind Judaism. They hide behind it, right, Shannon? They're hiding behind it. And so now you're not going to be able to criticize them. And so now you got the fox running the hen house, right? And same thing with these Satanist Christians and who follow Zionism and everything else. You're not going to be able to criticize that. And if a lot of them are now influencing our politics, which we're finding out that is true, you can't say a word to them.
And
now you go to jail. And this is part of the Noahide laws, by the way. They roll this out in other countries. And they did it in Russia. You cannot criticize. This is our death nail if this gets through. And I know people are too triggered emotionally, and I know there's been a lot of pain and suffering on the Jewish end there too, but you can't allow this to go forward, because this will destroy your rights as an American, and your First Amendment rights, no matter what down the line. You think it's going to help people to be emotionally not be upset over that. It's your actions that you should be criminalized. If they're putting banners up there, they should, and that's illegal, then they should be fined for that, or addressed to that. Not a hate crime for speaking your belief. My
Jewish friend just texted me, tell Tim words speak louder than actions.
Actually, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? My point being is actions. Actions is what you cross the line. You got to be able to say. See, you got to be able to say that. You cannot say that now in certain news media and certain criteria, because they edit you out and they cut you off. It's a social media credit social system, and that Chinese socialism is coming our way. And if you continue to do that, you're going to destroy your own self, because if you can't say that, no one else can. And it's just, that's what's going on right now in every movement we have. You're limiting people's free speech. Why do you think what we do here is independent and uncensored? Because you got to be able to speak your mind. And even if I'm wrong or she's wrong, you got to speak your mind.
Yeah, I think, and it's, it's you look at the right side or the left side. The left's pushing communism down the pipeline. The government's going along with it. And then on the other side, the Republican side, we're attacking our constitutional rights. It's a lose-lose. I think people should really realize that, understand that the politics is nothing but a game. Yeah. If you're in a position of power, you've been selected for that position. All we can do is come together as people, and we gotta
unite, not divide.
Absolutely, and think about how we're all a little worried to say certain words. Yeah. That's them controlling our speech already through social pressure, through social control. And I'm not condoning
you
any
left mainstream media. Wasn't that your experience? You couldn't say what you believe.
Yes.
You couldn't even wear a freaking shirt that said Jesus on it.
I said believe.
Believe.
But this does get a little uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because I don't know. I need to do my own diligence and research on the whole story.
Well, you better do it fast, because if this gets passed, it is going to be the downfall of our First Amendment rights.
But it's just for Judaism, Jewish people. What about black people or
Right. That's
like
called a foot in the door.
Asian?
It'll grow. Whatever hate crimes could take. You could protect pedophiles. You can't stop it, right? You know, you could do a hate crime against pedophiles. You know, and that's the whole point. You just can't not stop free speech because you're worried about hurting somebody's feelings verbally. You can't. Whether that may lead to action or not, it doesn't matter. People have to distinguish between their actions and what they say. And if they say something and it causes somebody else to take an action, then that person who's taking the action needs to be punished per that action, not because somebody else said that. That's the whole point of the freedom of speech. You got to connect the dots, people.
Our country, I think, though, we're not as leaders as we thought we once were.
No, we're not. No, we have fallen deep down hard these days,
right.
And it's getting worse every day.
Let's take a quick break. When we get back, it'll be tribe time. We'll get to your comments. I think we have a call from Tia coming in, right?
Yeah, I think she's going to tell us a couple
and
minutes,
then
things.
We have Shannon Gowland, who's an herbalist and a food therapy chef. Guys, she's incredible. She's full of knowledge. You're not going to want to miss her, so don't go anywhere. Raising the Frequency. We'll be right back.
The time to defy the modern agenda is now. UI Media Network presents Frequency Wars, an explosive new series that examines contentious subject matter pursuing us beyond our five senses. This weekly series discovers the intricacies of imposing issues that challenge our daily existence and question humanity. Provocative and intriguing, we confront the issues and conflicts affecting us on a global scale. Manipulation, manpower, or others simply controlling your mentality. The commentary and guests will shift our paradigm and defy the status quo.
In 1979, the so-called father of Israeli intelligence, a guy called Issa Harel, told an American journalist that there was going to be an Islamic attack on New York's biggest building.
Bill Gates, he is publicly saying we should consider microchipping all of humanity so we can track their status.
What you see in movies like The Avengers, that's actually true.
What will you believe? Frequency Wars challenges perception to take back your sovereignty. The power and purpose are greater than any of us, but we will test it all. Frequency Wars, the next revolution.
Good morning. Welcome to Raising the Frequency with Tim and Shannon. I got to ask, what is this commercial you guys are playing on UI Media? This is freaking depressing as hell.
What? That was great.
Your commercial.
David Ike?
Frequency Wars.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a hard commercial to watch.
Well, it's a reality check.
We see you. It's okay. We can take a second, right?
Right. So
okay.
We have a lot of comments right now.
I know.
This one says, Connie Catchup says, Connie Catchup, the dog is the best dog. I mean, he's been forever. God bless that baby.
So this dog is so good, and he's up for adoption. If you guys want a good German Shepherd pup.
The bloodline's impeccable. On the mother's side, it's show dog champions. On the father's side, Schitzen champions. And I'm only placing him in a home that I know is going to be an excellent home. So
otherwise, you keep him because he looks so happy with you. I'm not going to lie.
I know.
Chastity says, "Good morning, Shannon and Tim and our wonderful peeps." Oh, is that Bella on set? Who's Bella?
No, Bella is that
another one?
No, Bella's staying with Daddy, and this is. I have two of the males. This is my third male, and Frederick, and he's going to be going to somebody's home.
Oh, Dave said this, and then we'll get in our phone call. He said DeSantis is the devil. What do you think about that?
It's not devil. It's just these guys are bought and sold. These guys are sold out. He was over in, I think it was Israel, a year ago, and he said he's going to roll this all out. You know, and you know, there's certain. Listen, you know what's going on in Israel? They are going fanatical. They are kicking good Jewish people, secular Jewish people out of Israel, and the far right has taken over. And right now, they are just ruthless. And they're taking over. They're very strict Talmud followers. And
how do you know this?
I follow the news.
Okay, I'm going to ask my friends that are from there, though.
Well, yeah, and if they knew what was going on there right now...
call in.
They would be concerned. They would be concerned right now because everyone's under the same satanic agenda, whether you're Jewish, Christian, or whatever. You're going to be under the same foot, okay? It's just that these... Sabbatines, they're really not human in many ways, because they're sold out to a higher power, which is Lucifer, which is very evil. That's why that's why they hate people, because they're
all right. I'm gonna put my foot down. This has been the Tim Ray Show.
All right, go ahead.
So for the next hour that we're together, let's raise the frequency a little bit. Let's bring in Tia. Good morning, Tia.
Well, she's gonna raise the frequency, all right.
Shannon,
how are you?
I'm great. I love you.
I love you, and I want to know what you're calling in for. You must be bringing something amazing to the table, right?
Yeah, well, I was disappointed that I didn't see you at Next Steps. I'll tell you that. We had such a great talk.
Make it louder.
I have so many kids, Tia. It's hard.
You know how you get those, and that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, no, I'm calling to tell you guys about an event that's happening not this weekend, but next weekend, that I'm helping out with. You know, you probably heard about the Defeat the Mandates rallies in DC and Los Angeles.
Yes.
Okay, so that was the Safety Research Foundation, bunch of great folks there, and they are putting together a conference on March 25th and 26th, and it is called the COVID Litigation Conference.
Ooh, okay.
So it is a bunch of lawyers and others getting together to talk about things like employer mandates, education mandates, medical license, civil rights, fraud, censorship, injury, hospital negligence, mass torts, because, litigation is basically going to be the next 10 years is going to be the big thing, right? And they've already started, and there's more coming. And these attorneys are getting together to educate other attorneys about, best practices as far as bringing these lawsuits. And I'm telling you, we've got so many people that have been impacted by policies, not just the but all
not just the people that have been impacted, but the mental health that has taken place with our teenagers, with I almost said the weak-minded adults. I shouldn't say that, but really, it's like it has impacted us on every single fold that we can possibly think about.
Hey, T, we got to get going here, but how can people reach you?
Tim, stop. Let me just quickly tell you who some of these people are going to be.
Yes, please, Tia.
Hurry up, Tia.
All right. Robert Barnes.
He wants the Tim Ray Show to keep going.
No, I want this.
Mary Holland, Chief Counsel for Children's Health Defense. Tom Renz of Renz Law. Mark Mauser of Dillon Law Group. Tricia Lindsay, Warner Mendenhall Law Group. Jeff Childers, Bobby Flower Cox, Tracy Henderson, Ryan Health. They've also got Ryan Cole, Corey, Pierre Corey, Dr. Pierre Corey, who was just at Next Steps. I mean, they're just amazing people, and they're all getting together really to just talk about how we're going to play these lawsuits and make them.
T, you're breaking up if you're driving. It can hardly hear you.
I'm not driving. I'm just going to give you the website really quick.
Okay, hurry up. Can you hear?
People can get.
Make it louder, Ashley.
I'm going to speak you when we get done with this.
Is she breaking up, or is it just me?
Wait, Tim, let her say the website, and then okay, go ahead, Tia. What's the website?
VACSafety.org.
VACSafety.org.
Yeah, and that's VACSAFETY.org. Safety.org. You can get tickets. Tim, UI Media Network is invited to come as press. I'd love to help get Mendenhall on next week's show. So let's talk after the show.
All right, sounds good.
Yay, Tia, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tia, for sharing that.
Take care.
All right, okay, bye. So what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Nina's, everybody's loving you with this puppy.
I know.
This is showing your sweeter side. If we can only bring a puppy in every single day, I bet it's therapeutic.
Oh, very much so.
Is it calming you down?
Of course.
Because your energy has been a little wild today, but now I noticed that you're really calm. When the puppy woke up, you just kissed the puppy's eyes.
I know. Tom, you want to take him out?
How are you going to get rid of this puppy?
I know.
How are you going to adopt it?
When you got 4 more new ones like that, you get preoccupied very quickly.
All right, we got some emails. We have things to talk about. It's all about you.
Before we go to the emails, let's talk about our lunch party. Talk about
my favorite. I feel like you've been planning stuff without me. You know how I know?
Yeah, we
Because you
have.
said, I'm so excited for our launch party. I'm like, okay, what's happening, Tim?
All right.
It's May 4th for sure at Up on the Roof in Alpharetta.
Yes, it is. And it is turning out to be oh my God, wow. We're going to have hundreds of people.
A better than sex launch party?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
We're going to have hundreds of people there. We have Dr. Brian Ars coming in. He's confirmed. Christiane Northrup. We have John Nolan. We have...
John Nolan's phenomenal. All the girls had a big crush on him. He's a cowboy that loves Jesus and is against the mandate. So come on.
We have...
But he's married. Sorry, ladies.
We have George is coming here too as well. Remember the guy did the astrology summary? Remember?
No.
Ashley? Remember?
Oh, I do remember. He's wonderful energy.
Yes. I love him. We have so many folks coming, and that's just the beginning of the list. And then we have, and it's going to be a red carpet affair. You're going to want to dress up.
Well, now it's a champagne carpet. Did you see the Grammys or the Oscars or whatever?
Yeah.
It's now a champagne carpet instead of a red one.
Oh, because
let something stay.
Well, because they don't want to point out the red shoes.
Maybe, but you know who looks psycho? Nicole Kidman. Let's talk about that. You don't watch this stuff. I have to because my husband's in the industry.
Okay, so who watched the Oscars?
I did with my husband because he's in the industry.
Okay, so what'd you gather from it? Was there any?
Dude, Nicole Kidman. If aliens are real, she's definitely one.
Well, she's the one eating bugs.
Oh, yeah. And her father, when you start going down that rabbit hole of researching her and who her dad is, it's really warped.
Right.
It's messy. Right. And they did the Eyes Wide Shut movie. Have you seen that, Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah.
Which is super.
You know, they killed the director or the producer.
Stanley Rubik. What's his name? Gosh.
Yeah, because they didn't put certain things they cut out. But
well, what's crazy is the heart attack gun.
These Satanists kill people. Yes, the heart attack
gun. But they did say that he read a book, How to Kill Yourself. So, but from your mind.
Of course they say that.
How to kill yourself with your mind. So think about it. Our minds are so powerful. So if we're constantly, sicknesses are created within us with our mind.
Yes.
So we don't know. But yeah, I think that he exposed a lot. And there's a lot of Easter eggs in the movie Eyes Wide Shut that he's trying to show people, hey, listen, there really is this cabal and there's sacrifices. And at the end of the movie, it got really disturbing. I just heard, because I was researching, here I go. But Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, who were real married in real life, in the movie, they have a kid. And at the end of the movie, the kid goes off with 2 adult men in a toy store. And I never noticed that. And it's at the very end of the movie where Nicole and her husband, Tom, are just like loving each other. And the kid just kind of walks away with 2 adult men. Is that not freaking weird and creepy and disgusting?
Well, and the whole Oscar thing is weird, creepy, disgusting. I mean, who still watches that? I mean, I know you said.
Well, I said that to my husband too. I'm like, who watches this Satanists? And he goes, "Babe, this is my career." I'm like, okay, I guess I have to.
Do you think the numbers are so far down that Ashley? Do you think so?
No, and it's all politicized. It's like no one's voting. It's all like whose hand is in the bucket. Michelle Williams, do you know Robert or Weinstein? What's his name? Weinstein.
Yeah, Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And Michelle Williams is like, she was his girl, right? Her right-hand man, whatever it's called. And she was up for the Oscar and lost. And you should have seen her face. And I'm so glad she lost because you know she was part of courting the girls to get the casting couch.
Who was that guy who was in Home Alone, that kid?
Macaulay Culkin.
I listened to a thing he did, an interview, and he was talking about how the producers, the Hollywood producers, would get him in a room when he was 11 years old, and they sexually abused him, had a crack pipe. This guy was telling him...
They'd put him on drugs,
They put him on drugs. We got to get you away from your parents, and look at the kid now.
That's what they did to Corey Haim. And Corey, remember the Coreys? They were so hot. Like the Lost Boys, Corey Haim. You know, he murdered himself. He killed himself because... he literally was raped. Corey Feldman was raped. They talk about it.
And go down the road.
And Kevin Spacey did some of it. Kevin Spacey raped some of the Coreys.
I know. This is the Hollywood nest of just disgust that people go to the Oscars and they look and they admire them. Like, oh, look at nice Balenciaga gown they're wearing, you know? I mean, it's like, how are you not turned off by now? Seeing the bank closing, seeing the vinyl chloride in the air, watching the adrenochrome babies disappearing every day.
It's
how
disgusting.
Are you not
Rihanna, who was at the Super Bowl, who did her whole ritual, which you do at the Super Bowl, I swear to God, they have to like make us consent to it or something.
Yeah. It's actually rituals.
I know. She performed again. And you know what? I had some of my friends that I follow, one of them is a mother of a 2-year-old, and she was showing the baby the Rihanna performance at the Super Bowl. She was showing her baby that, saying, "Isn't it, like they think it's art?" And I'm like, right now you're just like brainwashing your kid to think that this is right. I'm so tired of people saying it's art. It's not art.
What is Sam Smith? Is that the guy? You know, think about when he did his ritual in the circle, right? In the Grammys. What was Grammys, right? Sam Smith. Remember?
Yeah.
What song he did? Unholy.
Unholy.
Of all songs, right? Think about quickly right after that, and maybe it was the same day, the vinyl chloride train crashed. You know, how do we know they're not doing these rituals? Hey, Tommy, put him in his cage. How do you know they're not doing the rituals? How do you know they're not doing the rituals for these things to happen? I mean, think about all the people died from that. If that wasn't a sacrifice, right? Or going to be dying and suffering. It's just wrong. I tell you what, I can't watch it. I can't do it.
Well, good for you. And I don't think we should. And I really can't either, but I had to also connect with my husband.
I know, I understand that.
So Nina said she's coming to the party.
Yes.
Dave says it's a long way to Chicago. Well, who cares? Just come anyway.
Dave,
hop on a plane, take a truck.
This is going to be the party of the century because we're rolling out also a...
How do people get their tickets? They need to know now.
It's going up online this week, towards the end of the week, and you'll be able to... what you have to do, no matter what, so you can do that today.
You really have to do that. I can't even get you in for free until you do this, people.
You got to go on uimedianetwork.org and go to your little Hamburg where you register. You sign up, subscribe for $30 for the year annually, and now you're eligible for that. Okay, and then we'll send the invite out to your email. But no one's coming in unless they're on a subscriber. That's just part of the deal. For $30,
but it's all you can eat, all you can drink. Set the perks, live music, hanging out with us, good people.
We got country music. We got DJ.
Their food is freaking phenomenal. There's Brussels sprouts.
You're on top of a roof, the largest building in Alpharetta. You have we have a live auction. It's just going to be incredible. It's just going to be live.
What is going to be at this live auction? How did I not hear about this part?
I know. Well, you know, we're going to be selling Shannon kisses. You got a kiss from Shannon, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
I don't know.
Nobody wants that foul mouth woman.
Dave may come from Chicago for that one.
All right, we have 3 minutes left, and we haven't gotten to our emails.
All right, go ahead. Good email.
All right, and I want to know what you think, Tim.
Yes.
Do you feel like your show is actually helping people wake up? I mean, what else do you do outside of this to change the world?
Oh my God. Well, one, I personally, what I do is I raise my frequency. I mean, I created around me a sanctuary of just beauty, animals, friends, circles, where I really can just detox and I could get away from the craziness of the world. And
you know, it's not raising my frequency. That puppy crying. Get that puppy back in here.
No, he needs to be.
You're gonna break my heart.
And so I do things like that. I have a lot of different hobbies that I do too as well. That really brings me joy. So I do. I get re-energized, and they come back here, and I just spill it out.
Yeah. And then we all have to freaking suffer.
Well, okay, are you suffering or are you waking up? Let me tell you suffering. How about the people right now who are on the 4th, 5th booster, who are going to the Oscars, who are admiring these Satanists, right? And are going down, living their life, and eating the glyphosate every day.
Obliviousness is bliss, right? Or ignorance is bliss.
Okay, and then they wonder why they're...
Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Then they wonder why their children are overweight and unhealthy and having heart attacks at 24. You know, I mean, come on, guys, seriously. I mean, you think that's the quality of life? Would you rather live in bliss? And maybe you would. Some people would.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want the blue pill. Shannon wants the blue pill.
Sometimes I wish I had that blue pill over the red one. But this is, you want to know what I do outside of this to change the world or to hopefully make the world a better place?
Yes.
Truthfully?
Yes.
I try to love. I genuinely try to love.
You are a lover.
But it's hard for me because I'm very strong with my opinionated, and I'm strong in my own, indoctrination. So I have to relearn. I have to understand every single day that I legit know nothing. I know nothing, I'm called to love humanity, and that's what I want to do. I'm a connector.
Well, that's a good humble approach on that, And I do think following Jesus as a model of living your life is one of the best things you could ever possibly do. So, and
I love Jesus.
People always
He's my homeboy.
People condemn you, say, "Oh, Tim, you're terrible. You're not a Christian online." Well, whatever you want.
Who says that to you?
A lot of people do.
A lot of Christians aren't Christians. Newsflash, I can't stand most Christians, and I'm a freaking Christian.
But
there's the truth.
I will say this in all humility. Most of my actions are more Christ-like in reference to what I do for people or do things like that on a level than what I believe what the Bible may say. And I don't care what the Bible says. I do what I believe is what I believe is to be great for humanity. Now, a lot of it follows in line with maybe perhaps the Bible says. But to me, it's like I'm not going to live my life by a book that I know was altered, right, and manipulated throughout time. Then my actions. It's all about your actions. It's not about what you say.
That's where your faith needs to step in. It's crazy. So you believe that the Bible with Revelation, you believe that we're living in the end times of the Bible.
I believe it's.
So
I believe it's a playbook being played out right now by man. I mean, look at the disasters. The HAARP program creating earthquakes. We got the weather manipulation. We got the chemtrails. We got the depopulation. We got everything. I could always tie it right back to man-made or extraterrestrial influenced decisions and actions. You know?
I am laughing so hard because Dave said Brussels sprouts is a selling point to the launch party. Yikes. You don't understand how delicious these Brussels sprouts are. They're so good.
So guys, look for your emails.
That is so funny.
Look for your emails coming out this week. It's invitation only. We have a phone call.
Tia says, wow, Tim, why are you so rude to me sometimes? I want to know why, too.
Kidding me? Tia, if she doesn't know,
do you have a big crush on her or something and you're like a little boy on the playground?
Yes, Tia only understands rude. That's how she communicates.
He just gaslit you. If gaslighting 101, Tim Ray, who's so enlightened. Where's your girls that are going to come get me?
Tia's
come
tough.
on, girl.
Tia's tough. Plus, not only Tia's tough, she is, I don't know if you all knew that, she has extremely high IQ. You never know, but it's her actions, she really does. She's really a brilliant woman. So, but, she's just a street.
That's a sweet thing, Tia. Did you hear that? That's a compliment.
Well, it's
all right. Next email.
All right, go ahead.
What has been your favorite topic out of all the ones you've done shows on?
My favorite topic of all the shows I've done, my favorite topic. I would say, which one do you think would be my favorite? God, there so many of them.
Tim, pick your own. Don't ask them.
There's hundreds of shows. Like more than the more recent ones.
I'll tell you mine while you're thinking.
Go ahead.
I love our biblical shows and our godly shows because
I do like that
you bash Christianity and then you talk out of both sides of your mouth and by the end of the show you're always like, oh.
Okay, number one, I don't bash.
I believe Jesus is God.
I don't bash Judaism. I don't bash Christianity. I don't bash Islam.
Okay, he does. Does he not?
I'll point out some of the problems in each of those.
Because we need you to point it out. Because who do you think you are, holier than thou?
No, but I've researched and I actually go in and look at the details of everything. I follow through. I follow the truth. All right.
Which is in your intuition. How do you know that your truth is more true than my truth?
See, I don't.
That's not a very humble place to start,
I don't,
sir.
But I don't. But the last thing I would ever do is shut down your ability to say your truth.
You do. Oh,
but people try to shut my truth down. I'm like, hey,
you just spit on me.
You can't do that. You can't shut down the truth. Your truth may not be truth, right? My truth may be truth, but yours may not be.
No, but that's
why you got to be able to express it.
The only truth is God. That is it. All of us, not there. Let me say one more thing, and then we're going to bring in Shannon.
Yes.
Not one of us is righteous. Not one.
No.
Swallow that.
Okay, but I'll tell you what. Even if you don't believe in God, I'm going to support you to share your truth. So if you think there is no God, or you think Lucifer is God, I'm going to say it's your right to share your expression.
Okay, what if it's a terrible? What if it's okay? So what about pedophilia? Thinking that's okay?
Then it's your actions.
No. I disagree.
There are people, we said in the last show, there are people out there who have pedophilia feelings or thoughts and never acted on them. So you're going to condemn them to death and sentencing? You can't focus on what people say or think. You got to focus on what people do.
If people are
actions,
there is hate speech, legit hate speech.
There isn't hate speech. That was made up to get this stuff in. They're doing right now.
There are YouTube videos teaching men how to rape women. You don't think that's hate speech? That should be punished. That should be a punishable crime.
That will be up to you to determine whether they want to keep it on there or not. But that is not punishable for saying stuff to people. You can't. You have to understand the First Amendment right. People, we have dumbed down our society, especially in America. We don't understand what the First Amendment means. You got to be able to support people who are saying stuff they disagree with you. And die for that belief to say they disagree with you. And we've had soldiers die for that. That's how important the First Amendment is. All right.
Okay, Tim Ray. We're going to bring in Shannon.
Yes.
Who? Where's my paper on her?
Shannon Gowland. She is one of the most
herbalist and food therapy chef.
And she's just incredible here local, too. So exciting. So stay tuned, guys. More to come. Welcome to Awaken Atlanta. I am Tim Ray with my sidekick. Should I say sidekick?
You're my sidekick.
Am I your sidekick?
Dude, you're the bitch.
Shannon McVay.
We're going to talk about cancel culture and political correctness.
So we have, guys, Kevin Bloody Wilson, Australian comedy legend, and he is a legend, joining us right now. Kevin, welcome.
So speaking of Sweet and Fuzzy and our show on cancel culture, what's your take, honestly, on all this that's happening with the political correctness?
Well, how far are they going to take this back, this cancel culture? Like Julius Caesar, like he had slaves, so are they going to take his name off the fucking salad?
Yeah, seriously. Stacey said what she loves about Australia is the C blank and T word is considered not offensive or it's considered a compliment. Is that true?
Yeah, all my mates are cunts.
Oh.
You know what happens when people get offended?
What?
Fucking nothing. Oh. Absolutely nothing.
Do you have any one last song you want to play for us that you think may be able to bring in this whole cancel culture and political correctness?
Political correctness. What a crock of shit. If it's political, it's probably not correct. Those two words don't fucking fit. So I wrote a little PC pushback song that I'd love for you to sing. While we flick them PC pricks the finger singing, F-U-P-C. Here's one for the horse you rode in on. Fuck you, political correctness. F-U. Here's one for your dog. Fuck you, political correctness. F-U-P-C. That's your line now. Fuck you, political correctness. F-U-P-C.
Yay!
You are so uncoordinated, you two. Your turn. Fuck you, political correctness. F-U-P-C.
Welcome to Raise the Frequency with Tim and Shannon. And it's not the Tim show, it's the Shannon show, even though she gets a little upset at me at times.
But now we're Shannon squared because Shannon is here.
Shannon had to get another Shannon to double up and beat me up here.
I need all the help I can get, Tim Ray.
So Shannon Gowland, she's a herbalist, Qigong instructor, by the way. I took
herbalist
Qigong
and very smart. And by the way, she made us dinner years ago, and that was still the best. Yes. It was lasagna. I still remember it.
Yes.
What was it? Cabbage lasagna?
It was made with extra. It was made with extra glyphosate.
Oh, gluten-free. Yeah, it was so good.
So Shannon, we were talking about all the problems going on from the toxins.
We know the problem.
We know the problem. The toxins in the food system, the glyphosate, and everything else. And what's going on now is that we're realizing that we almost have to grow your own food, right?
We do. But then it's still going to be poured down on with glyphosate from the chemtrails.
Yeah, but you have to kind of, get that, go a little faster, each time. I know. So what do we do? What are some solutions here we could look at to get our own food?
Because we're feeling pretty damn defeated.
I know, it's hard. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, we have all these issues going on, not only with where food comes from and how it's grown at these factory farms, which there's no nutrients in it. We think we're eating healthy, but we're not because there's nothing in the food. And so I think the first thing that most people need to step out of is get out of the mindset of row farming.
What?
Row farming. So
row farming, like rows.
Rows, like rows, because that's where
it's so linear.
A lot of people are. That's all that they know. Is
Shut that door,
is how to farm using row method, because that's what we've seen.
Yes. Okay, so is that the Amish?
Well, that's post-industrial revolution.
Okay,
that's basically what happened. Is we have all of these new chemicals, we have all of these machines now, and so now we're farming row method, and that does not allow any type of nutrients. We don't have any trap planting or companion planting. So the first thing is that we have to start looking at it a little bit differently, and we have to create ecosystems.
Oh my gosh.
So
this is so defeating and discouraging. Like, we can't eat anything.
No more book wine nights anymore. You got to be growing these things.
Nope. You got to be growing them, yes.
All right, but do you grow?
I do.
Of course.
She grows all over the
What do you tell then somebody who, like me, who does not grow, and I would just like to go to a grocery store or something? What do I do?
Well,
nice knowing you.
Yeah.
I just died 5 years earlier because of glyphosate.
So
You can spend the time or die 10 years earlier. Which one?
So the problem is that if you go to the grocery store, of course, you have to select the best that you have available to you.
Yes.
That's number one, is what do you have available? What is the best thing for you? So, of course, we stick with organic because that reduces our exposure to glyphosates and chemicals and gibberellins, BT, the list goes on and on. That would be number one. But the problem is the same thing that happens. People who decide, I want to get healthy, I want to stop eating junk food, I don't want to eat fast food, I'm going to start buying organic fruits and vegetables. Well, of course, they lose weight, they feel better because they're not having all of the gluten and the chemicals in their diet. But the problem is then they plateau and they start feeling slow again. That's because there's no coenzymes within the food that they're eating because the soil is dead. So unless we have living soil, we're not going to have nutrients in our end product. Then we have to look at the age. Most of the stuff in the grocery store is 3+ weeks old. Apples are a year old. So
You're eating year-old apples?
Yes.
I mean, we can go pick them here in Georgia.
Yeah, but apple season's only like 3 weeks long.
Oh, well, then never mind.
But yeah, you have the perception that apple season's year-round.
I did not know that. Our apples are literally a year old. So are they still holding nutrients?
No, the nutrients are done. So basically, they will have anything you buy. They're going to have fiber. They're going to have sugar, and they're going to have minerals. Depending on the minerals that are in the ground, those could be toxic or not toxic, but because those are not organic. Yeah, exactly. Those aren't organic, carbon-based.
Okay.
So anything that's carbon-based, which is majority of your coenzymes or your vitamins, those are going to start decomposing. So once you pick it and it's no longer in the, attached to the ground, it's no longer getting nutrients, making coenzymes, then at that point, you've got about 7 to 10 days to consume it if you want those coenzymes.
That kind of okay. So what do your kids eat for snacks? What do you do for snacks around the house? And do you ever go to a grocery store?
Well, I mean, sometimes we have to, depending, especially during winter and things like that. But you have to make usually our farms. If we can't get to our farms, then we have to go to the grocery store. Do you
have your own cows?
We partner with farms.
Okay.
Yeah, for cows and goats and everything. And we've really been working on helping farms to transition over. Conventional farms that want to transition over to biodynamic methods.
Oh, there's bio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that biodynamic is what you want to do. There's a lot of news.
Not bioengineered, biodynamic.
Yeah, biodynamic.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, it's basically think pre-industrial
revolution
methods. Indigenous farming methods. That's where we want to be, is indigenous farming methods. Like you can drive through somewhere and you see fields of corn and it's just corn. It's just corn growing. Well, the way you're supposed to grow corn is the Three Sisters method, which is going to be corn, beans, and squash.
Okay.
Because they support and protect each other. If you grow tomatoes in an area, you're supposed to plant beans there because tomatoes suck all the nitrogen out. And when they suck all the nitrogen out, you have to replenish that. So you have to replenish it using a nitrogen fixation plant. So that's going to be your beans, your legumes. You plant a crop of those. Those are your cover crops as you rotate out your crops.
Go be writing this down, Shannon.
I live in the suburbs.
Well, you can still do small urban farming.
You still rely on FEMA camps, Shannon. So Shannon, that is it is an art to this, really, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
And knowing what to grow and when. I think that's really what people need the education on. That's why I'm so glad you're out there doing that for folks.
Yeah.
And so you travel all over the different states and you pull from different places, the organic, where to, and then you bring it back here and you do what with it? All this information and items.
So, I mean, we do prepare meals, but we're not taking on any new clients.
Oh, come on. I'd hire you easy.
Yeah, I know.
So we're mainly focused on educating people, teaching people how to grow at their own in their backyard, how to create ecosystems, how to protect the environment, making healthy choices.
Okay.
And then we have our school, our herbal school, and we have now branched out into our nonprofit, which is more educating farmers and people how to create these ecosystems and farms.
Is there any end?
Yeah,
to
because
this
the farmers markets, they're not even.
You gotta be
clean.
careful. You have to be so careful.
That's what I was.
I know.
Thank you
Is there any end to this glyphosate? Because it seems like everything's doubling down. They're doubling down on vaccines, they're mandating the glyphosate. I mean, just like you don't care what people say or do, they just double down on it.
Look at our water system. we need to really do a show on the water.
We are. I think next week we're going to be talking about that.
Well, that's what I was telling people is that in Ohio, you know, with the whole train derailment and everything, that just because
That
it didn't
false
happen,
flag.
exactly, just because it didn't happen in your backyard doesn't mean it's not affecting you.
Right.
Yeah. How do we know we're not getting wheat and eggs or things from Ohio area?
Well, look at the rivers that go into
and that was the
water.
number one Amish location out there where that all happened.
Over Pennsylvania?
Yeah, no, it definitely went over
Ohio.
Pennsylvania. It was in Ohio.
No, yeah, I know. That's what I'm.
But it went over Pennsylvania. It went over to New York. We're dealing with it now. Of course, it's in the Ohio River.
Yeah,
coming down here, and
it's going to come straight down here, and it'll wind up in the oceans, and it's just going to precipitate and continue to grow those dead zones.
But they're being so quiet about it, and even like the LabCorp. People say to gut test to see if you have this vinyl chloride in your body, and the LabCorp now said we're not testing anymore.
They're not going to test it.
Well, we know why.
That's the level of corruption.
I want to know because you're an herbalist, so I've been getting into herbs or trying to learn.
Uh-oh.
Do you ever take any supplements, or do you make your own? Like, say, if I want a milk thistle, would you make your own? I don't even know what milk thistle is. Is it an herb? But do you make it, or do you take supplements? Do you ever buy anything like that?
So we take the plant and make it into whatever we want to make. So like milk thistle seed, we would grow the milk thistle, then we would harvest the seed, dehydrate it, ground it up, or make a tincture or something with it.
Okay.
So we have to be careful. Speaking of supplements, you have to same type of thing. You have
they
to
put
be
fillers,
careful.
right?
They put fillers in them. Where did it come from? Where was it grown? If it was grown in a country that has toxic soil, well, that's in there. So dandelion is the worst. Dandelion cleans up toxic spills in toxic areas. So like anybody in Ohio, I'd say just start planting fields and fields of dandelion. But if you can't use that for medicine now. So if you're buying a dandelion root tea to help your liver, but it was grown somewhere that was toxic, well, you're just putting those toxins in your body.
So how do you protect your stuff? Because if it's still coming out of the sky, or how do you protect your stuff?
Well, so one of the best things is going back to that whole ecosystem. The ecosystem is what helps protect and mitigate from toxins. But you have to do the best you can. Test your water.
You're never going to eliminate everything, right?
No, absolutely
but you can
not.
minimize.
Correct.
Mitigate
it, minimize it. Having trees around is going to help. Trees help protect you against 5G. The more trees you have, the more complete ecosystems you have, you're going to be healthier. So just for example, if you go in, you look at somewhere that a developer's coming in and they're going to build new houses. What do? They cut down all the trees. Now they should start with taking notes of that ecosystem, what's in that area, because after they build the houses, now we need to restore the ecosystem. But they don't do that. There's no biodiversity. So what do? They plant trees and shrubs that are usually non-native, fast growing, look pretty, ornamental. And now we have these lawns and there's no ecosystem. So now our dogs go out there, we get bacteria built up, and there's no good bacteria. So we're bringing it in and out, and there's nothing to protect.
And my dog sleeps on my bed.
Oh, that's how they get parasites. That's how you get parasites.
Crud, I had parasites too.
Well, we all do.
We all have parasites. Some are good, some are bad.
We all have bacteria.
Yes.
Some good, some are bad, right? So this is fascinating. I really, it's just like, it's changing our whole modern society to start going back to the land and start farming. And because that's the only way you really could secure your own food. You know what you're eating, right?
Yes, see.
Because even now, if we're getting stuff from Ohio that's organic, it may be contaminated by the vinyl chloride, right?
Right.
So, so you just don't know what you do unless you can.
What if you just pray over your food and you say, I do not consent to anything bad. I put the intention that this is going to heal me and be good for me, and I just buy as organically as possible. How about that?
Well, that does it. Sometimes that helps with keeping clutter out of our mind, because we can't stress over it and worry about it all day long.
Yeah.
And anxiety is just the future. We're just, you're living in the future with anxiety. And some people that's where they resonate.
And you know what God says? He says, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow worries about tomorrow. There's enough to worry about today, but do not worry.
Well, I think all these tomorrows are piling up into today now. But, I do think Shannon was on something, because I do think that's frequency work. When you pray, like a lot of the rabbis will pray over the food, right? There's power in that. When you unite your intentions and you pray, you shift the energetic structure symmetry of the molecules. And so I think if there's poisonous ones and you shift in a positive, loving intention, right? I think that you could actually change the molecular structure of what you're eating. I think there's really
the frequency. There's a lot of power in that, and that's why one of the things.
You are welcome.
With indigenous method, you pray, you give thanks.
Yes.
You give thanks to the food. You give thanks to the animal. You welcome it into knowing that it's going to nourish your body.
Yes.
So that's definitely a part of it. That's what we've gotten away from. I mean, you know that when you go to a grocery store and buy a pound of ground beef, that no one prayed over that.
That's such a good point. My husband's family, they're all hunters in New Mexico, and when they do hunt and kill like a deer, they will pray over it. They will close its eyes. They will cook it. They will eat it. They use everything. And I kind of got to respect that.
Yeah, you're showing gratefulness for that.
Yeah.
And sacrificing that life for your life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a whole thing, the whole sacrifice thing, because then you're like, well, can you live on plants alone? I guess some people do. But then you're killing a plant. Plants have feelings, don't they?
Plants are living too, but you're never going to get a complete amino acid. And that's a whole nother issue with your B12 will be deficient. B12 is only going to come from animal products. Then you've got your amino acids. You can mix and match your vegetables to get a complete amino acid barely, but the amount you would have to consume, you're not going to get enough.
So, well, there you go. You have the solutions there coming there. I think growing and creating your own food could deal with these poisons. It's just things are gonna get worse. I think that's really the alternative we have. And if you don't have land, any suggestions for the inner city people?
Oh, absolutely. There's plenty of options to create either community gardens, or you can do it in your backyard. You can grow peas easy, squash easy, using pots. And so with using pots, you can't have really a complete ecosystem, but you can have an ecosystem within that pot and look at your beneficial insects and things like that.
But how do you keep the animals from getting it and the insects if you don't spray glyphosate? So I'm asking for a friend. Roundup. How, seriously.
Which is glyphosate.
Okay, so when you're growing in a small area like that, of course, anytime you start growing, whether it's large scale or small scale, and you're starting with these biodynamic methods, the problem is that all the critters are going to come. So it's going to take, if you're starting a farm or even a garden, you've got to give yourself 2 years to get that ecosystem up and going. You're going to lose most of your crop for that first year if you want to be truly biodynamic.
Okay.
Organic, the methods is the same as conventional. You're still spraying something on the plant, on the field to get the vegetable to grow. You're not relying on a closed system. If your soil is healthy and living, your vegetables are going to have all the nutrients they need. You're going to have a balanced ecosystem where the pests, they're going to have, they're going to be food for something else. So you're going to have that predator-prey relationship.
Oh, wow.
The healthier it is, the more roles are filled, the healthier garden is, and the more vegetables you harvest.
Well,
okay,
people need to follow
Shannon,
you.
Go, girl.
People need to contact you, Shannon. So tell us how we could do that, because you are a lifesaver for many, especially now with what the craziness in the world.
Can we buy from you, like from your garden?
So
Shannon wants meals from you.
Yes. For the love of God, somebody feed me and my family.
Yeah, right now we're
I am failing us.
Right? I feel that a lot of people think that, but as long as you're doing the best you can, that's all that you can do.
Yeah.
So our website is sogratitude.com. And then our nonprofit is sogratitude.org.
Wonderful.
So
well, thanks for coming in and a busy day and sharing this.
And bringing knowledge to us, Shannon.
Yes, absolutely.
Jeez.
So stay tuned, guys. More to come. We get the wrap
Give a
up.
recap.
Yep.
So if you take vitamins and all these supplements and you have no idea, you're taking because someone said to me, this is the biggest problem, I would suggest go back to the real herbs. We have enough of those, right? And then the most important, why I said in the beginning, I'm against all the supplements, because our body is so full of toxicity. We need to change the public thoughts. We need to realize how important it is. How important is go back to nature, so you will understand that your body is speaking with you. Just listen. Ignore everyone outside. This is all depends on you. Yes, there is a bad people out there, but there is also good people out there. But by the end, there is also you. And where are you in this picture? I would suggest go back to basics, meaning what your ancestors would eat. This is what you need. You need a simple food. You need simplicity in your life. Everything by the end is very simple. So I would suggest just go to your local farmer's market or grow your own food.
Good morning. Welcome to Raising the Frequency with Tim and Shannon. We had a show on food. Did you learn a little thing or two, or did you know everything?
Yeah, well, I know I learned a lot. I mean, in reference to, what's interesting is how the glyphosate is in our school systems.
Well, we know that.
Yeah,
Come on.
But 80%.
They have sex books in our school systems, right? So, of course, they have glyphosate.
So are you still not convinced taking your kid out? Did your kid eat the school food?
Yes, she does.
See, there you go.
Well, I mean, sometimes.
That's one reason why you should take her out, just for that alone. So are you excited about this party going on?
Yes. Yes, I am. Can we wait, though? Can we finish? Can we recap the food? Because there was something that I wanted to say about this.
Good.
Because it was really interesting with what it's easy for us to feel discouraged with what we eat and with what we put in our body, and we're in a lose-lose situation. But I think it's important to remember that we don't have to be there. We can raise up, we can go. The biggest takeaway is eat as organic as possible, right? And really watch what you eat.
Yeah, that's the best you could do. I mean,
even if you do have to grocery shop, like I freaking grocery shop, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
You know? Really? What are you doing? Where'd you go?
No.
You always leave. Well, all right, I'll just say this. I've been trying to eat whole foods, real good whole foods. And you know what I'm noticing? The more I eat whole good foods, the more sugar I'm craving.
Because you have these parasites that eat sugar that you're not feeding.
How do we get rid of parasites?
By starving them out, and they eventually start to.
And you starve them out by not eating sugar?
Exactly.
Well,
or you could, like, if you have a tapeworm in there, you may have a tapeworm in there.
Oh my God, I have a tapeworm? Don't diagnose me anymore.
Have some chocolate and the milk, and open your mouth and.
No, I don't want that. Like
the slimy thing coming out of your mouth.
That's disgusting. Is that real life though? Could that really be?
Yeah. People pulled miles of.
How do you see if you have worms like that? I know we all have parasites, right? We need parasites in us.
Test it.
Oh God, I'm gonna throw up.
All right, read some more comments.
Okay, part 5 says, so I'm guessing we need to pay attention to grains. I just bought a bunch of Fiji apples yesterday. Sad to hear that they could be 1-year-old. Yikes. I know. Connie Ketchup says, is anyone surprised that China film won everything? So in the Oscars, we were talking about the Oscars.
Yeah.
And the China film did win everything.
Did they really?
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think there was a hidden agenda?
Of course there is. I mean, they got Chinese police stations in New York, and they're rolling out the CCP as the model for a whole world of surveillance and control. Come on, give me a break. The whole Hollywood ever does promote their satanic agenda. I mean, look at it. They're just disgusting people.
Hollywood is promoting Jesus lately. I want to know what their agenda is there. Is it to bring in Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, probably that. Or they're like, there's something's up their sleeve. You know that much, right? So something's up their sleeve. What do you think, Tommy? What do you think's up their sleeve?
I think that the demoralization aspect of the country's already set in. Our next couple generations are already going to be affected, and we know that the pendulum's going to swing back. We know that organized religion is just as controlled as the satanic content.
Well, we keep saying over and over, it's the theocratic world's coming to place. I mean, it's happening in Israel, it's happening in all these other countries. They're going to the extreme now. They're kicking anybody who's just crazy left out, and this far right type of mentality is now taking over
Don't be too extreme one way or the other, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Moderation.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's why you got to have your amendments. You got to protect them, because if you go too extreme, you lose all your rights, and that's why you got to protect the people on the far left right now. Right?
I think the entity.
You agree with me? You got to protect those people who don't believe in God and everything.
Of course.
Yeah. All right,
of course. You know what I believe? Be everything to everyone, Tim. Can you grasp that? Be everything to everyone.
All right.
Period.
I feel
That's what I try to do.
The agenda doesn't stop for anything. The agenda, we can prevent it and we can push it back, as all coming together and standing up and saying, "Hold on a minute, we don't like that." You can't.
We don't like Tim or Tommy. You just sounded like Tim Ray. Hold on a second. We don't like that.
But you know what I mean. But that's how we prevent it from fully going forward. But I think it's ever changing as well. As soon as the pendulum swings back, then they have all their conglomerates and their lobbyists on that end take control, take power. The same things. It might be a different message, but what they're doing behind the scenes is the same thing.
It's just always moving forward. They got Trump moving you forward. They got Biden moving you forward.
This is why, just listen. Just go out and love, man. Why is this so freaking hard for people? None of it really matters, yet everything matters. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, Ashley, I love you.
Why do you think we're raising the roof?
Tia said,
what?
Tia says, when is the party again? Okay.
Okay, good.
We are so excited. It's May 4th, and you can get your tickets this week, but you have to sign up on uimedianetwork.org.
For annual membership, otherwise you're not eligible to get your free ticket. And it is May 4th.
So it's not early. It's kind of free. It's kind of like, you should really rephrase how you say this.
Listen.
How about you say this? Let me do it for you. Okay. Guys, we have our launch party. It's $30 a ticket, but in that $30, you get free food, free drink, and a free year subscription to UI Media Network.
That's brilliant.
Jeez, I need to be your marketing director.
Well done, Shannon.
Freaking Tim's like, you have to subscribe or you're not welcome. Like, what?
It's free, but you have to pay.
Yeah, like it makes sense. You get your free ticket, but you need. So do you hear how I just articulated that? Yeah. Now you try. Go. Try.
Listen. Our tickets are $30 tickets, and it's incredible because not only you get all this food and this entertainment and the red carpet experience, but you also get membership for a whole year at UI Media Network.
There you go, for free. So it's all those play on the words.
There you go. Well done, Shannon.
Do you?
And also,
this is why I was successful when I was a freaking salesperson. I had no idea what I was talking about, but I knew how to sell.
She's so
ketchup
she's so
to a lady.
She's so copiers.
You know what? No, this is true.
Can you imagine Shannon selling
I would push a freaking copier. Hi, can I talk to your CEO? But guess what? I was so successful, and I was the only woman in the entire place of Albuquerque.
You don't think your looks got you in there?
Oh, 100%. I don't care. I would put my looks, my face on my resumes.
Really?
That's a true story.
Interesting.
I was very unqualified.
I almost don't believe
why anybody would want to hire me. I have no idea.
I almost don't believe that she put her face on a resume because I don't think she ever worked a day in her life.
I did. I just told you I sold copiers to multi-million-dollar companies, and I would meet with CFOs, CEOs all day long. They were always men, and I had. You know what my biggest selling point was?
What?
These copiers are so advanced, they'll do your laundry for you. Because I had no idea. I had to train them on how to use the copy machine, and I had no idea how to use it. Me and technology, I have no idea. So I eventually got smart and started paying the tech guys to do the training for me.
Nice.
Oh, I do also want to say we have $300 and $500 tickets for the VIP party, which would be in Canton on Friday.
Wait, what are you talking about? You have a VIP party on Canton?
On Friday, the day after the May 5th, day after May 4th. And so you'll have a chance to not only come to that and hang out with, Christiane Northrup and Brian Ars and all that again, but also you'll have...
So it's like the meet and greet. God, I got to help you.
Yes.
You need to talk to me before you talk to them.
All right, okay. And then what you do is we're also rolling out this new this win-win scenario where we're bypassing Google and everyone else, where you actually get your leads on your business, because these are for entrepreneurs, people who have their own businesses. We want them to come and learn how they could actually help each other with leads and make money. And grow their business. So it's going to be a really great opportunity to do that on Friday. So you're not going to want to miss that one as well.
Part 5, you're commenting, you better be coming to this party.
Yeah, part 5, you coming or what?
Nando says, oh my God, Shannon sounds like a politician twisting words, LOL.
See, some people like
they're
that direct
not
talk.
twisted.
They like the direct talk.
But how were they twisted? It was just shinier. It's the same, but it's the same outcome.
Yeah, that's true. Same outcome.
Oh my God, never compare me to. Maybe I'll run for president then.
So,
I would bomb something.
But
I would bomb a country by accident. Oopsie. please.
On a serious note, this launch party is going to be humongous, and it's
No, it's not. It's intimate.
250 people.
It's not 250 people, Tim.
Okay.
It's a VIP intimate thing. You're lucky if you get to be there.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, either way, it's going to be packed, and so you're gonna want to get your tickets now, because honestly, we're cutting off. The rooftop can only hold 250, so we can't let anybody else in at that point. And we were at so many people coming all around the country and out of the country that I just wanted to say, you want to get your tickets very quickly. This is something that you don't want to miss out on. It's going to go.
Can we send a blast email to our
Well, that's why we're doing
listeners?
it right on the email. We're not launching the tickets available yet until we get everything set up, so you can quickly get in, RSVP, and then you're hooked in. We verify that you're signed up, and then you're in.
Tommy, what were you going to say?
What are you saying, Tom?
I wasn't going to say anything.
You lost
I
it.
want to say one thing.
All right, go, Ash.
One thing. There's this movie I watched. It's called The Shack. If you want to change your life.
Oh, it makes me cry.
Shack.
Beautiful film, and it's about God, but it doesn't. It's not like a.
It's a book too, Ash. Did you know that?
It is a book. It is a book.
It was a book that we read years and years and years before the movie came out, and oh my gosh!
Watch The Shack.
Watch
read
The
it.
Shack.
Do
You will
both.
cry and you will pray, and you know what's interesting about you bringing that up? Sometimes I still see Jesus, like I like how the vision of God was a black woman. You know what I mean? Or the Holy Spirit was an Asian woman, and then Jesus was a man because Jesus was a man. But it was just interesting because some people see God differently.
Representation of the Holy Trinity, and really nice.
Some see Jesus as a really nice-looking Italian guy. And then some see Jesus as, who he was, right?
I have a crush on Jesus.
Yeah,
so.
because Hollywood made you think that he's an Italian guy. Well, he's not Italian.
No, he didn't.
This is the
I don't think Jesus is Italian.
No, he's Jewish.
What are you talking about, Jim? Where do you get this stuff from?
Look at the picture of Jesus.
This is the cool part. This is the cool part about that movie. Is what Shannon just said is that God represented was a black woman, was the representation of God.
Right.
But why that was is because the main character in the story had a terrible relationship with his father. I mean, pretty much non-existent relationship with his father. So that when he went to God, God chose a female form and a mother form to help tend to him and because he didn't have a good father relationship.
Well said, Tom.
And it's to represent that, right? So that God isn't male or female. God is us. God is everything.
Yeah, God is all. Yes. So let's pause there and remember that God loves you so much. Legit, there's nothing you can do that's going to take away God's love for you. And all you have to do, if you don't believe, right now, if you're struggling, just say, God, help me. Help me see you. Help me love you better. Help me. And he will do that because he loves you so much. Our God is not this punishing consequences God that we're so legalistically indoctrinated to believe. Our God is beautiful love.
Your religions say so. Also, they found.
Why does Tim have to ruin everything?
I'm saying
watch The Shack.
I'm saying there's a worshiping.
We just had a beautiful moment, and then there's Tim Ray.
I'm saying there's a worshiping.
Shannon ended it beautifully, beautiful, coming together. I thought it was awesome, and then Tim's just like, no, actually,
Really raising that.
I guess it's going by organized religion, I guess.
Tim is delusional.
Do you feel like we're vibrating higher?
Yeah, well, we just were. Did you feel it? I felt it with the three of us, and then he stepped in.
I'll go a step higher. All right. Now,
okay.
Let me tell you what I'm grateful for.
He's got a God complex. So, look, you guys are talking about Jesus. Watch what I can do.
Let me tell you what I'm grateful for. Listen. I am grateful for
your minions that come to back for you and say, Tim, we love you.
I'm saying you three right now is what I'm grateful for.
Oh, well, that was nice.
Because without you guys, I would not want to come to work every day and do what I do.
I believe that.
Seriously. I don't have to be here. I don't have to be here, but I'm here.
He's a freaking millionaire. He doesn't have to be here.
That's not my point. My point is I don't have to be here because I choose to be here because I love you guys so much. That's what I'm grateful for.
I have to be here. Just kidding.
That's probably true.
No. I love you guys. You're my best friends, man.
What are you grateful for?
I love you guys. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for being able to have a show where we can talk about God because you're right about mainstream media. You're not allowed. There's an agenda. So it is wonderful to be able. God, I hate. Can we turn away, raising the frequency into a drinking game? Every time Tim says Satanist, you have to take a drink. We would all be shit-faced by the end of the show.
Alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, we would all have to get the IVs in us.
Yeah.
Because
seriously.
What are you grateful for, Ashley, Tommy?
I'm grateful for this show and for this network for sure. In hindsight, I've been here for like 2 years, coming up on 3 years, and it's just been great.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And it's been great to express, my beliefs in this regard.
Oh my God.
And be able to share that. Yes.
Our show is on our 5-year anniversary in May.
Yes.
And our launch party's in May. Did we do that on purpose?
Yes, we did.
Ha! Well, just realize that. God, it would suck to be married to me.
What? Okay, so this might sound cocky, but what I'm grateful for and what I'm learning to be grateful for is my mind, because every day I am trying to challenge myself, trying to learn more things, and I'm finding that I am really talented and really creative, and I'm developing my own confidence in my art. So
I love that, but how do you feel the AI now coming in and our creativity?
Disgusting.
Is I know.
Disgusting. I mean,
AI now can do everything. They can be us. It'd be our creativeness.
And listen, I'm grateful for the AI satanic agenda because why am I grateful for that? Because it's forcing us to come together in united intention and united frequency. And look all the people that we met because of what these guys.
Tommy, can you play that song "Come Together"?
Yeah, I know. There you go.
Right
but
now,
I'm just saying
because we gotta go.
We gotta go. But this is wonderful. And by the way, next week I think we're going on talking about the banks and the run on the banks. And the best thing you can do right now is don't feed into it. It's all being orchestrated to get everybody so scared. Do buy some gold and silver. Do get involved.
Buy some assets, right?
Buy some tangible commodities.
If you can.
Do all that, but don't freak out because they want you to freak out. Because when it's on mainstream media, you know that's their agenda, right? So don't feed into these Satanists.
Thank you guys for coming to the Tim Ray Show. I meant raising the frequency with Tim and Shannon. We'll see you next week.
Envious. All right, bye.